8 years of marriage, a daughter they both adored. But behind every kiss, behind every smile, she was hiding the darkest betrayal. And when he found out, he didn't cry, he didn't beg, he planned the perfect revenge. Every story has two sides, one told by the betrayer and one lived by the betrayed. This is not just about love. This is about revenge. David Miller, a man of quiet strength, a man who believed in family, in trust, in the sacred vows of marriage. Emily Miller, his wife of 8 years, beautiful, charming, and dangerous in ways David could never imagine. Their home looked perfect from the outside. White fences, a daughter named Sophie, who filled their days with laughter. But beneath the surface, cracks had already begun to form. One evening, David arrived home earlier than expected. Emily wasn't there. Her phone rang unanswered. He found her perfume lingering in the air, the faintest trace of wine on the counter. When she returned hours later, she laughed it off. Just drinks with friends. But David saw the shift in her eyes, the kind of shift that told him the truth was slipping away. Betrayal never explodes all at once. It drips slow, poisonous, until it consumes everything. Late at night, David checked her phone. One message changed everything. Can't wait to see you again. Last night was unforgettable. Signed, Mark Johnson. Mark, David's so-called friend, a man who had eaten at his table, smiled in his home, held Sophie in his arms. David's chest tightened, rage pulsing through his veins. But he didn't scream. He didn't confront her. Not yet. Some men react with violence. But David, he planned. David pretended. He smiled at Emily, kissed her cheek, tucked Sophie into bed. To Emily, life seemed normal. But behind David's eyes, the storm brewed. At work, David began documenting, saving messages, printing bank statements, watching patterns of Emily's late-night disappearances. He wasn't just a husband anymore. He was a hunter. One rainy Thursday, David followed her. She kissed Mark outside a hotel before slipping inside. David sat in his car, the rain streaking his windshield like tears he refused to shed. His grip on the steering wheel turned his knuckles white. Narrator, cold, deliberate. And in that moment, David swore he would not just catch them, he would destroy them. Days later, David invited Mark over. Beer, a game on TV, small talk. Mark laughed, unaware the man across from him knew everything. David, how's life treating you, Mark? Mark, busy, work, late nights. David stared at him. Every word tasted like venom. David confided in his old college friend, Daniel, a lawyer. Daniel urged caution, but David's mind was sharp, focused. David, this isn't just about catching them. It's about making them pay. Slowly, piece by piece. Late at night, Sophie asked, Sophie, Daddy, why are you sad? David, I'm not sad, sweetheart. I'm strong. For you. And in that moment, David's revenge had a new purpose. Not just justice for himself, but a future for his daughter where betrayal would never poison her again. David set traps with precision. He transferred joint accounts into Sophie's trust fund, untouchable by Emily. Quietly, he hired a private investigator to record Emily and Mark's affair. Soon, he had pictures, videos, enough evidence to shatter them in court. One night, David casually asked Emily about her day. She smiled too brightly, spoke too quickly. Emily, just yoga with the girls. David, yoga. In a hotel room? At Mark's office, anonymous emails began appearing. Screenshots, photos, hints that someone knew his secrets. Mark grew paranoid, snapping at co-workers, drinking more heavily. At dinner one evening, Emily reached for David's hand. He pulled away just slightly. She noticed. Her smile faltered. She could sense it, the walls closing in. But she had no idea who was building them. The investigator delivered the final piece, a recording of Emily whispering to Mark, "He'll never know. David's too blind." David listened alone in the dark. His fist shook, but his voice, when he finally spoke, was calm. "David, oh, Emily, you have no idea what I see." David orchestrated a dinner, invited Emily, invited Mark. Even Daniel came, pretending it was a friendly gathering. Midway through, David played a video on the TV. Emily and Mark tangled in each other's arms. Gasps filled the room. Emily froze. Mark stuttered. David calm. Cold. You betrayed me in my home, with my so-called friend, in front of my daughter's future. Tonight, everyone sees you for what you are. Word spread quickly. Mark's clients dropped him. Emily's friends turned their backs. The betrayal was no longer secret. It was spectacle. In court, David presented ironclad evidence. Affairs, lies, financial manipulation. Emily's lawyer tried to fight, but the judge's gavel fell heavy. Sophie's custody to David. Assets stripped. Emily left with nothing. Revenge wasn't loud. It wasn't violent. It was precise, surgical, final. Mark's company collapsed. Debt collectors circled. His reputation? Ruined. He tried to call Emily, but she ignored him. The affair that once felt intoxicating now tasted like poison. Through it all, David never raised his voice, never struck a blow. His revenge was silence and truth. Sometimes the sharpest blade is the one that doesn't cut flesh, but pride. Emily and Mark stood trial for fraud and conspiracy. Guilty. Their futures collapsed in a single word. David sat in the back. He felt no thrill, only closure. Emily begged. David refused. The marriage ended with a whisper instead of a scream. David, goodbye, Emily. At home, Sophie asked if Mommy would return. David, maybe one day, but not the same. Sophie, I just need you. Daniel visited one evening. Daniel, feels good, doesn't it? David, no, it feels finished. David bought a smaller house, planted flowers with Sophie, taught her to ride a bike, laughed again.